When Adam and Laura Walker made the decision to bring their young baby along for a lunch date, their expectations were quickly dashed as their daughter refused to cease her crying. It wasn't until later, when Laura Walker examined her daughter's leg, that she let out a shriek of shock upon uncovering the cause. There are few things as priceless and incredibly precious as a newborn baby. That's why Canassa's parents, Adam and Laura Walker, were absolutely smitten with their daughter Molly when they first laid eyes on her. She was not their firstborn, but they could already see that she would make a perfect playmate and little sister for 2-year-old Maya. However, that day, they were almost starting to regret the moment they had decided to have kids in the first place. After 4 months of caring for their baby daughter, Adam and Laura had become familiar with most of her moods. They could distinguish the hungry cry from the dirty nappy cry, and both parents knew how to soothe away the tears by feeding her, changing her, or rubbing her back to settle her. But as soon as they entered the restaurant and were seated at their table, Molly woke up and began to cry. Adam and Laura exchanged looks. Was this a case of Murphy's Law? If anything can go wrong, it will. This was their first time out of the house since the baby had been born, and they didn't want it to be ruined. They tried to ignore the annoyed looks and whispered conversations of diners at the surrounding tables, which seemed to be focused on their noisy infant. Adam and Laura could hardly blame these people. They had not expected to spend their lunch with the sound of a screeching baby. Laura checked Molly's diaper, which she had already changed just before they had left home, but it was still clean. That was one possibility ruled out. Although Molly had had her last feed just an hour earlier, her mom offered her a bottle, but the baby girl ignored that too. She just carried on crying. Is she going to cry the whole time? 2-year-old Maya wanted to know. She doesn't know how to tell us what's bothering her, Dad Adam explained. Not like you, Maya. You're such a clever girl. But I'm sure Mommy will figure it out in a bit. Do you think she's teething? Jess asked. She knew that babies start growing their first set of teeth around 4 months old, but she hadn't expected her daughter to feel the first pangs of pain exactly during their first day out in months. Could be, Adam agreed. And of course, Miss Molly just had to pick the very auspicious occasion of our first meal out to be getting her first tooth. Those little baby teeth can't wait, Laura said. Come on, baby. Let Mommy take a look. With Molly's mouth wide open and her wails getting louder and louder, it was easy to prod around her gums. Do you feel anything? Adam asked anxiously. Not a thing, Laura replied, and all the while, Molly still went on crying. By this time, both Adam and Laura wished that they were back home, but they had already placed their meal order and had to wait for their food. Every minute felt like an eternity as they wondered whether they had checked everything, tried everything to soothe their baby, and done their best to ignore the angry, irritated looks on the faces of their fellow diners. Nobody had said anything so far, for which they were grateful, but this definitely wasn't how they had planned. The lunchtime became very chaotic as Adam and Laura both tried everything to calm Molly down, but nothing worked. They talked about what could be making Molly upset. Maybe the strange sounds and smells of the restaurant were bothering her, or maybe she was starting to feel sick. Molly was crying so much that her parents couldn't think about anything else. Big sister Maya was also getting upset. She was tired of being good while Molly got all the attention. Maya wanted help with her food and started to look like she might cry too. Adam and Laura looked at each other and knew they had to leave. They were looking forward to the meal, but it wasn't worth it if Molly was so upset. Adam hoped Laura would figure out what was wrong once they were home. When they got in the car, Laura noticed that Molly felt hot. She took off Molly's romper to help her cool down. Laura worried that Molly might be getting sick with something they didn't know about yet. Like her older sister, Molly had been born a little premature and therefore had to stay in the hospital for 3 weeks after birth. There wasn't anything specifically wrong with her, but the healthcare team wanted to check that early development was on par and that no health complications were evident. Thankfully, young Molly was soon given a clean bill of health and allowed to go home with her parents. However, sometimes premature babies can be a little frail. Being a nurse, Laura had met her fair share of preemies who fell sick more than average. However, Molly seemed to be doing just fine. As soon as the little baby girl was home, the balancing act began for the parents. Having gone through the process of caring for a young baby once before with Maya, Adam, and Laura knew what to expect and felt much more confident in their role of caring for little Molly. They drew up a routine to make sure that both parents at least got the chance of getting some sleep with the inevitable round-the-clock feeding and changing sessions. Adam was happy to help out with everything for Molly. Eventually, she got used to a kind of routine. As Molly grew older and started sleeping longer, it seemed like Adam and Laura might get a chance to go out together. But they had to choose places that were good for the kids. They picked a restaurant for a special lunch. On the day of the lunch, both girls were dressed really cute. Adam and Laura were proud of their daughters and couldn't wait to show them off. They were excited about not having to cook and getting a break from doing dishes. They thought it would be a fun treat for the family, and they hoped Molly, who was about 19 weeks old, would sleep a lot in her walker. But their lunch plans didn't go as expected, and something bad almost happened to Molly. When they got home, Adam and Laura quickly started taking care of Molly's fever. Laura acted like a nurse and told Adam to get a cold cloth. They waited nervously for it to help Molly feel better while Laura stayed with her. Adam had to put Maya to bed, but she didn't want to sleep. She was upset, and nothing seemed to calm her down. Adam could only hope Laura would be able to help Molly soon. But Molly's fever didn't go away like they thought it would. That's when Laura noticed something important. Molly was still wearing her baby socks. Molly's entire body seemed racked with fever, and although Jess had loosened her clothing, those baby socks should have been the first to go. After all, hands and feet are the first parts of our bodies that should be cooled down when our temperature rises abnormally. Under normal circumstances, she would have remembered that, but the baby's incessant crying had turned her brain into mush, and she had completely forgotten. As Laura Walker finally removed the baby socks, she could not help but notice how warm her daughter's leg felt, and when she removed the last sock, she gave an involuntary scream of shock. "What's wrong?" Adam wanted to know at once, but when he saw Molly's toe, he felt queasy. Molly's feet were unnaturally red, clearly showing how those cute baby socks had contributed to Molly's discomfort. Laura filled a basin with cool water to cool her daughter's feet down, but then she noticed something even more disturbing. One of Molly's tiny toes looked horribly swollen, and when Laura saw what caused it, she knew that there was no time to waste. In that moment of crisis, she became a supermom. In a calm voice, she gave Adam instructions on what to bring her. He rushed to the baby room and returned with a flashlight, a tweezer, and a small, delicate pair of scissors. Next, he ordered him to bring the magnifying glass from the kitchen cupboard. Looking through the magnifying glass, Laura and Adam could finally see clearly what had caused the problem. They were shocked at the discovery that they had overlooked something seemingly insignificant but that had caused them so much trouble. If only they had known this earlier, they could have avoided so many unnecessary tears. A single hair had wrapped itself around one of Molly's toes and was cutting deep into her flesh, disrupting the baby girl's blood flow and causing her immense throbbing pain. It was also responsible for the fever that Laura had first noticed in the car. As a nurse, she knew exactly what had to be done. Laura told Adam to hold Molly still while she used special tools to cut the hair from Molly's toe. It was hard to do, but Laura used her knowledge from working in healthcare to do it safely. Molly stopped crying right away, which made her parents feel better. But Molly's toe didn't look normal again right away. It took almost 45 minutes for the swelling to go down. This problem that caused so much trouble has a name in medicine. It's called a hair tourniquet. Even though it seems small, it's a serious problem that can hurt the body. If Laura hadn't helped right away, Molly could have been hurt even more. If the swelling gets really bad, the hair can get stuck deep inside and be hard to reach. In the worst cases, we might have to cut off the hurt part, Laura explained. She had seen a few cases like this when she worked as a nurse. Adam looked it up online and found out more. A hair tourniquet can happen to babies when they grab onto something, like a parent's finger, and a hair gets wrapped around their toe or finger. After the scary incident, Adam also asked Molly's doctor to make sure her toe was okay. The doctor praised Laura for acting fast, which stopped things from getting worse. For the future, the doctor said to always check Molly's toes and fingers if she keeps crying and there's no other reason. Adam told the story on Facebook to warn other parents about the danger. He even shared the helpful article. It's not just toes and fingers that can get hurt this way. More than 50,000 people commented on Adam's post, some sharing similar stories. Adam also shared a picture of Molly feeling better after everything. They might have missed their lunch, but they learned a big lesson they'll never forget. What do you think of this story? Let us know in the comment section. I hope you like it. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.